Dara is a woman who works for a state project company on the island of Lolland, Denmark. Her job is to photograph and interview owners of large tracts of land in order to acquire their properties so that the state can begin building new infrastructure. This time, the plan is to build a large tunnel connecting Denmark and Germany. The experience of meeting the island's inhabitants causes Dara to develop an attachment to the land and the stories it holds. Not far from where she is, a dozen men are working on building the tunnel, among them a young man named Luček. The mechanical rhythm of the construction contrasts with the silence of the field she tries to preserve in photographs. At nightfall, Dara observes the landscape from a bridge. At that moment, the tunnel workers pass by on their way back to where they are staying. She greets them with a "good night," never imagining that life would give her the chance to meet one of those men. Over the following days, Dara continues inspecting and photographing houses that are about to be demolished for the tunnel's construction. Her schedule doesn't stop, and each record adds another silent farewell. More than 800 hectares are ready for the major project, which is expected to last a year. Each hectare has owners, stories, and traces that will soon turn to dust. One afternoon, Dara decides to go for a walk in search of a beautiful beach. By chance, she runs into the construction workers there and approaches Luček to talk about the nice weather. Interested in him, she asks if he's from the area. He replies that he isn't. In fact, he's from Poland and has only come to work for 3 months. The conversation is trivial, but a spark ignites between them that could start an intense fire. Before that happens, Dara collects objects from the abandoned houses in the area that will soon be demolished. In bookshelves, desks, and rooms, she manages to gather several books. Most are old, but one stands out, a diary belonging to former owners who have passed away. The pages recount the quiet life of a woman caught between the love of two men. Sometimes the reading is entertaining, and at other times, boring or repetitive. However, Dara feels captivated by the story behind these accounts. A few days later, Dara organizes her small apartment, where she is temporarily living because of her job. Suddenly, someone knocks at the door and, when she opens it, she discovers it's Luček. She already knew he would come, since she had invited him. However, Dara decides to get straight to the point and kisses him, sparking an afternoon full of passion. After their encounter, they talk about how long they will stay in the town. She mentions that she'll be there until the end of September, while he'll be working until October. Intrigued, Dara asks him his age, since he seems very young to her. Luček replies that he is 24 years old, which makes Dara a bit uncomfortable, and she clarifies that she is 38. Luček doesn't mind dating a woman 14 years older than him. He even playfully asks her when they'll see each other again. Of course he doesn't mind. At 24, the only thing you worry about is whether there's dinner afterwards. In the following days, Dara goes through a series of books and old photo albums while reading the diary. Among the yellowed and stained pages, she tries to put a face to the woman who wrote those diaries, trying to identify her. However, she is not successful in her search. One day, she finally finds another photo album, where she sees a young woman who could be the author of the diaries. This discovery gives her a chance to connect the text with a face. On a day off, Dara goes out with Luček. He takes her to his place. Their relationship grows stronger as the boring weeks go by. They enjoy days at the beach, reading together, and falling asleep holding hands. After 2 months, Luček faces an injustice when he doesn't get paid for the work he's done. The worst part is, he's not the only one. All his co-workers decide to go to the union, which tells them that the government, responsible for the payments, still hasn't sent the money. Anxiety takes hold of the men, who choose not to work until they get paid, since they're all far from home to earn money. While they wait for news, they organize a barbecue to relax. After a few days, Dara finishes her work in the village and boards a ferry to return home. There, she runs into a friend she hasn't seen in years. They talk, and Dara tells her about the journals and her desire to do a project centered around those notes and the area where she was working. In the past, Dara had written a book and plans to do so again, drawing inspiration from the journal. Meanwhile, the construction workers continue to face problems with their wages. Finally, the government informs them that they will not be paid until the work is finished, an estimated period of 8 months or less. Faced with this situation, the men decide to leave, as they do not trust that they will be paid and must return home empty-handed. Back home, Dara meets up with her circle of friends in her hometown. Among them is her longtime partner, an actor who performs in plays with little visibility and low budgets. Dara is not enthusiastic about these plays, she even seems bored, but decides to stay by his side. However, her mind keeps thinking about Luček, so much so that very night she gets in her car and heads to a distant bar where Luček is. There, several employees from the construction company are enjoying themselves and laughing. Although everyone is in high spirits, Dara still seems bored, so Luček decides to leave with her. Next, Lucek takes her to his apartment. Unable to hold back any longer, Dara confesses that she has had a boyfriend for years. Lucek is stunned and asks her to leave him. However, she replies that ending that relationship isn't so easy, and she also expresses her uncertainty about the future that awaits her with Lucek. Despite the age difference, Lucek makes it clear that he wants her by his side and that he has fallen madly in love, not wanting to lose her so soon. Dara remains silent in response to that declaration. Her silence echoes off the walls, and she finally ends up sleeping with him, spending the night together. In the morning, she gets dressed in a hurry, and Lucek, disappointed, asks her if he'll see her again. She replies that she doesn't know, fully aware that she actually won't see him again, but she doesn't want to tell him that. A year later, Dara returns to Lolland to explore the surroundings. The breathtaking landscape, which wasn't ruined by the tunnel, appears glorious before her eyes. Dara can't understand what ties her to this place, so she asks the locals about the country houses that still exist and are habitable. Meanwhile, Lucek sends her videos showing that he went to his grandparents' house and plans to return to Lowland to look for her with an uncle. Maybe that way he can steal a kiss from her. Dara doesn't reply to those videos, focusing instead on gathering information. On her last visit to Lolland, Dara fills a container with objects abandoned in the island's houses. From chairs to notebooks, everything is under her supervision as she plans to start a project that will change her life, inspired by the ghosts of an island in Denmark. Dara isn't moving house. She's doing emotional archaeology. If you don't play another video right now, I'll make another diary entry, and this one is really boring.